Hey y'all, I want to spend a few minutes in today's video talking about how corporate development teams can successfully pass off prospects to their SEO team or other technical teams for further due diligence during the M&A process. Now, your biz dev team is really your first line of defense when it comes to a potential acquisition. Using a lot of the analysis techniques and stuff that I've covered in previous videos, you should be able to at this point determine what is the total crap and separating that from potential acquisition targets that deserve further due diligence. And when you're passing off that prospect to your SEO team or other technical teams for further diligence, I find that there is a really good kind of packet of information to include and pass over that is going to be way more useful and give your team great context around why you're looking at this asset, how you're looking at this asset, that is going to be really useful for them to perform that further due diligence outside of just a quick Slack message or email saying, hey, can you look into this site for us? So we're going to cover what are those different areas that you want to include in that little information packet and successfully passing off that prospect from your corp dev team to your technical team. So there's really a few things that you want to make sure that you include in that information pass off, and the first is your initial investment thesis, or really the why behind buying the asset and what the business case is for buying it. That business case and initial investment thesis is going to be great context and perspective for how your SEO team or technical team looks at the potential acquisition and really weights maybe some things that matter a lot less based on how you're looking at the asset, or things that matter a lot more and are stuff that they really need to dig into a lot deeper. And that initial investment thesis is going to evolve with further diligence as well. They may uncover things that present new opportunities for that potential acquisition, or really just evolve how you're thinking about the potential buy. And they could uncover information, obviously, that potentially turns you off from the asset. So that initial investment thesis flips on its head in terms of something that goes from really interesting to buy to not so much. Outside of your initial investment thesis, you also want to make sure to include all of your initial findings and information from your first round of due diligence. Now, this is really covering pretty much all of the other topics that I've covered on this channel when you're digging into an asset. That's things like the competitive landscape and what the market looks like, the monetization on the site and any potential opportunities or outstanding questions there, what content quality looks like, what link quality looks like, and any other channels that are associated with the asset that look potentially interesting. So it's really just a culmination of those different topics in that analysis that you've done at a pretty high level, just to give you a good gauge around whether it's worth it to do additional analysis and due diligence on the asset, and again, pass that to your technical teams for further diligence. You also want to make sure to include any outstanding questions that you have. As a member of the corporate development team, you're not going to be digging super deep into every single one of these different technical areas of the site. So it's really important to highlight, hey, these are the big, hairy questions that we have around this asset after our first round of diligence, and stuff that's really important to answer to get to a deeper investment thesis and a potential valuation for the asset. So that information, that context, those questions are going to be really useful for your technical teams to make sure that they're digging in the right areas to be able to uncover answers for those different topics. And lastly, you can include a potential valuation for the asset at this stage. This isn't completely necessary because that's going to obviously evolve with further diligence, but that can give your team some context around the general value for the asset that you've placed on it after the first round of diligence, and then they can give their feedback around, hey, I actually think it's worth less or worth more based on X, Y, and Z factors. So it's really up to you on how you want to present this information from your corporate development team to your SEO or technical teams. I like doing a really structured Google Doc or a slide deck of some sort that really just outlines kind of your executive summary and initial investment thesis, strengths, risks, opportunities, and the information that you've uncovered in your first round of diligence for all those different areas that you've digged into, like I talked about earlier in terms of the competitive landscape, monetization, content links, other channels, things like that. and really just provide a nice structured view that gives your technical team and SEO team the appropriate information and context for doing all of their due diligence. So I have a little template that I use in a slide deck that if you want to shoot me an email, I'm happy to send it over. But really, it's all about just how your team best receives that information. So anyways, y'all let me know if you have any questions. That is it for today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.